Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And today I wanted to film a little video about my favorite books of the year. So my favorite book of each month and then ultimately my favorite book of the year. So I was going through my book journal and I have a spread in here for my favorite book of the year. I haven't filled out, but each month I did fill out my favorite book of that month. So I thought we could go through them quickly, chat about them, maybe why they made the list, have my thoughts on them now, and then go through our bracket that we have together and fill it in. I just filmed this entire video, but it came out in slow motion, so we get to do it again. Okay, so in January, my favorite book was As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. This is the third and last book in the Good Girls Guide to Murder trilogy, and it was really good, finally getting all the answers to our questions. This was probably the only or maybe one of two mystery thrillers that I read this year, and it was really fun, very satisfying, definitely very adrenaline filled read, but super enjoyable. Then in February, my favorite was Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This is definitely one of my favorite books by Elsie Silver. It's a very fun read. I really like both of our main characters, but especially our love interest, our male main character. And in terms of like just wanting a romance book, this one was amazing, very fast paced, very quick read, very easy read, and just super bingeable and enjoyable. Then in March, my favorite book was Funny Story by Emily Henry. I loved the atmosphere of this book. I loved the setting. I loved the plot that brought our two characters together, and then I also loved the actual characters. I felt like I related a lot to aspects of both of them, and they just felt like such real people, which I don't always find in books, so that was really nice. And then in April, my favorite was Twisted Throne. This is the fifth book in the Bridge Kingdom series, but they're all like duologies, so this is the first book in this couple's duology, and I did enjoy it for sure, obviously because it did make the list, but being the first book in a duology still left me with a lot of unanswered questions and unexplored like plot lines, and I'm really excited for the next book to come out to finally conclude this series. But I do love this series and I love any book in this series. I just love being in this universe, in this world with these characters. In May, my favorite book was Silver Elite. This book had its moment right around that time, and it was really fun to read it at that point in time. I just remember like staying up way too late to read this book. Like, this book is not reinventing the wheel by any means, but I did have a lot of fun reading it and I was very immersed in the world, so it was really fun. In June, my favorite book was This Dark Descent. Again, this book isn't necessarily incredibly unique for the plot, but I did really like the setting and the lore, and I liked our female main character, but again, not reinventing the wheel on this one. Moving on to July, my favorite was Every Summer After. This was such a fun summer romance, and the dual timelines with a second chance always keeps you so hooked, wanting to know like what happened to their relationship all those years ago to bring them where they find themselves now in the present. And yeah, I really liked that part of it as well. In August, my favorite read was Atmosphere. This was such an amazing book, such an amazing read. It was very emotional, and I think this book is gonna stick with me for a really long time. I loved seeing our main character in that time in the 1980s and 70s and such, going into, the workforce that she was in, which was definitely male dominated, and the challenges that that brought. And I loved her relationships with not only her new co-workers and colleagues, but also her family members and all of the dynamics in that. But yeah, this was definitely a favorite book of mine. In September, my favorite book was Wild Card. I think that's when this book came out, but yeah, I definitely read it soon after, and it was just such a fun read. I just had such a great time. I thought the storyline was sort of a bit more unique for a romance book, and definitely hooked me the whole time, and it was very addicting, it was very enjoyable, and I kind of just flew through it. It was really good. October, my favorite was One Golden Summer. I finally finished this book, and this is the second part sort of to the story of Every Summer After, and we finally get, the love story that this character wants and deserves, and it was a really nice book. I loved honestly every single part of this, every single plot line that we had and explored throughout this book. It was really nice, and also very seasonal. I know I finished it in October, but I was reading it throughout the entire summer, and it was really fun, and definitely made you feel very summary. In November, my favorite was Heartless Hunter. This book caught my eye at the end of last year, just being how, you know, she's a witch, he's a witch hunter. There is that dynamic of enemies to lovers, and it was just so much fun. It definitely delivered, and I'm currently reading also the second book in this duology, and it's also so good. Yeah, it was a really, really well conceptualized and executed story, and again, doesn't reinvent the wheel, but does a really good job of it. Okay, and then the last book, so my favorite book in December, I'm actually still reading, and that is A Kingdom of Ash. I'm about 40% through, so this is how much I've read, and I haven't been reading too much in December. It's been incredibly busy, so this one is my favorite out of all the ones that I have read. I'm going to put it on the list for that reason. Okay, so that was a little quick fire of every single one of my favorite books per month, and now I want to go through all of the matchups and figure out which one is going to end up being my favorite book of the year. So our first two books we have As Good as Dead and Wild Eyes, and although I really did like As Good as Dead in terms of just reading and enjoyability and what I would perhaps want to reread, that sort of thing, for my personal reading taste, Wild Eyes is going to win this one. Then we have Funny Story and Twisted Throne. Funny Story was just, I absolutely adore that book. I think about it quite often, so that one's going to win this matchup. Then we have Silver Elite and This Dark Descent, and I think in terms of reading experience, again, I'm gonna say Silver Elite for this one. Just reading it with everyone during that like hype time, like I feel like that is an experience on its own, and I really loved being part of it for this. This Dark Descent was good, but I think that Silver Elite is going to take the cake. Okay. Then we have Every Summer After an Atmosphere, and this becomes very difficult because I really enjoyed both of these books, but I have to say that Atmosphere, it was a lot more emotional for me. It just hit harder. I think I liked the mix between, there is of course a love story in there, but a bit more of the literary fiction and a lot of the other themes and storylines that we explore in Atmosphere. So for that reason, Atmosphere is gonna win this one. Okay, next up we have Wildcard and One Golden Summer. This one, One Golden Summer, is definitely gonna win this matchup. I think that One Golden Summer was just an amazing book, and I definitely see myself rereading it next summer as well. Okay, next up we have Heartless Hunter and Kingdom of Ash, and I know that I haven't finished Kingdom of Ash, and I'm only basing it on the 40% that I am reading, or that I have read, but I am gonna give it to Kingdom of Ash. Going on to our next round, we've got Wild Eyes and Funny Story, and I think that Funny Story is going to have to take this one. Again, I just felt like there was a lot more depth to both of the characters, and not quite as just surface level as Wild Eyes. I feel like a lot of the contents of the book were both driving the characters' personal growth and their personal character development, as well as the relationship, whereas Wild Eyes, it was very much just for the relationship. So I think Funny Story is going to take this one. Next matchup we have Silver Elite and Atmosphere, and this is where this bracket gets kind of funny because yes, it was my favorite book of either, like, each of the months, but these are two completely different leagues, and I think that Atmosphere is gonna win this one by a landslide. And then my final matchup is One Golden Summer and Kingdom of Ash, and this is also a very good matchup simply because I haven't finished Kingdom of Ash, but I'm still gonna give it to Kingdom of Ash. It's sort of an unfair contest being this long of a book, and I mean, I guess that doesn't necessarily mean I'm enjoying it, but I really am enjoying this book. It's really difficult to put down and stop reading, and I've only read 40% of it, and it's so good. So I'm gonna give it to Kingdom of Ash being our final in the last three. So our final three are Funny Story, Atmosphere, and Kingdom of Ash. I think I'm gonna go with third place to Funny Story, and then in second place Kingdom of Ash, and in first place Atmosphere. So Atmosphere is my favorite book of the year, which I'm not surprised. I meant to do a reading vlog for that one, but I never ended up putting it all together, and I just have this video of me absolutely sobbing finishing Atmosphere, so I am not surprised that this is my favorite book of the year. It was quite the journey, and I think I like couldn't look at or like read another book for like a week after. The Hangover was intense, and it was it's also the only book that I've gifted this year. I read it and I immediately gifted it to someone because I was like, I need to talk about this with someone. I also just want as many people to experience this book as possible. So if you are on the fence of reading Atmosphere, this is your sign to maybe pick it up. So that is all from me for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know what your favorite book of the year is, or if you have any thoughts on any of the ones that I talked about, definitely let me know. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!